it said the high priest, and the high priest is they represent for man, and he has to sacrifice accordingly. So back in the day, what happens with the high priest was the set man, and what he did was once a year, annually, he would take and go into the tabernacle. Now, when he goes into the tabernacle, he sprinkles the blood on the mercy seat, which is the Ark of the Covenant. And also he goes and gets a goat, and the sins of the people, he holds the horns, and that's supposed to be the sins of the people. And the goat escapes and runs through the wilderness. That signifies or symbolizes that the sins have been forgiven. That's why now when we talk, we say, okay, that must be a scapegoat for what you did. That's the scapegoat. That's where it came from. So what the priest does is he repents for his sin, and then he repents for the people's sin by speaking and casting the sin on that goat, and the goat escapes through the wilderness. So all that is saying is that now that there's a high priest, we follow that high priest, but still we are priests. You priest is the pastor, but then you are the priest as the man of the house. If there's no man in the house, you're the priest as the woman of the house. The priest is the one that's over the household. Household can mean bricks and mortar. Household can mean over the set of the family, the patriarch. So if you're the priest, everything that happens has to go through the priest, and the priest is held responsible. So the priest is not holding the people up, the priest is under, and the priest is under holding people up under. Just like Aaron and Hur was holding up Moses' arms, he was under his underarm pit, holding it up. Where the priest is the foundation. The foundation is the one that's holding everything up for the time, because God is head of Christ, Christ is head of church. Christ is over man, man is over family. So the priest as the man has to hold everything up and make sure everything is in order. So if your children is not going to church, is your father going to church? If the mother is not going to church, is the father going to church? If the father is not implementing that for the people to go to church and follow God, that has a lot to do with what's going on in the household. When the father is out of the household, order becomes disorder. So now that there's no man in the household, the mother has to step up, and everyone's looking up to the mother. So all the time when the order is set, the man has to see that he knows that there's something inherited in him, that he has to make the decision, he has to make the move to change his whole family trajectory. So if the man doesn't work, if the man doesn't take care of his family, if the man doesn't stand up, the thing is now everybody that's connected to him fall too, because they're looking up. So let's bring this into spiritual form. If I'm looking up and I know I have a spiritual assignment from Christ, I have to continue to look up, as I said last Tuesday, look up to Christ, because he's the head. So if I'm following Christ, everything Christ is doing and everything Christ is showing me through the scriptures should help me to get on this stage, because the word says with this stage that I'm in right now, Christ said that I chose you, you didn't choose me. So everything that's happening has already happened before, so it's nothing new to him. So I have to find out how to do it through Christ. So the awesome thing about it is Christ is not going to fail me. That's going to bring me out of order. Man can fail you, but Christ won't fail you, so you can't be out of order. So I'm going to stick with him, and I'm going to follow the people that's following Christ. Because if that person is not following Christ, then I can't trust them and I can't follow them, because anything, any wind of doctrine, like the word say, can sway them anyway. So I have to make sure that person is following Christ. That means I have to have an ear to hear the scripture. Not an itching ear to hear anything, but an ear to hear the word and make sure the word is on point. Line upon line, precept upon precept, according to the word of Isaiah 28:10. So long as Pastor Jay is here speaking and giving you word, I'm going to always stay and stick to scripture and show you scripture, and then add scripture on top of scripture to make sure you see that it lines up.